Hello, everybody.
All right. Sunday. Here we go. Here we go. Good evening, cuz.
Hello, people.
What's going on? We're about to get started. Thanks for joining us today. We appreciate you taking time out your schedule to join us for episode 4.
Yeah, thanks for joining, people. We appreciate it. Thank you.
All right. How y'all doing? Good to see everyone. What's up, cuz? What's up, pretty? What's up, fam?
What's up?
We got our people
What's up,
coming
fam?
in. All right, today's episode 4. Tony, we love what you're doing. We love what you and your husband is doing. This is the feedback that I'm getting. But how do we get a husband? Straight to the point, right? Episode 4. How do we get a husband? So we're going to break it down. First, we just want to thank you all for coming back. This is our 4th episode. We appreciate all your support, all your messages, DMs, giving us ideas, telling us some things that you would like to see. We also received a lot of messages telling us that 30 minutes is not enough time. We'll talk about that in the near future. We don't want to take up too much time on your Sunday evening preparing for the week, summertime. That being said, we're going to jump right into it.
Let's go.
Just to recap, right? The question is, how do I get a husband? Would you like me to start?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'll start off for the female's point of view, my perspective. So the first thing I would say is, which is something that I've said many times before, first, in order for you to get a husband, you need to understand or know who you are, right? You can't offer someone else some of you, some of yourself, or have expectations if you don't really know who you are.
That's good. That's a good point right
Thank
there.
you.
Yeah.
So, like I shared with you before, and you can add to it, right?
Yeah, I think, Rich, really quickly, you have to know yourself because you have to, like Tony mentioned, you have to know what you're offering another person. If you don't know yourself, you don't know what you're offering. Mm-hmm. So how can you, in a sense, sell yourself on the market when you don't know what you're selling? Mm-hmm. That's like a car salesman trying to sell you a nice car and they don't know what it does at all. Mm-hmm. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
So, first of all, before you get a husband, you got to get a man. And then we can talk about the opposite way, but the way the way the question came in, it was more geared towards a woman trying to get a husband. So I would say, again, having clear expectations, knowing what you want, knowing who you are. I think a lot of times when we're looking at relationships, like I knew when we got together that I wanted someone that was going to love me, like I always say, before anyone else, right? So I think a lot of times we have to be friends, okay? You need to be friends. I mean, a genuine friendship with someone to really know who they are. It's just like your friendships that you have with the same gender or your friends that you've had, I'll say, with decades. You don't want to break their heart. You don't want to do anything that's going to offend them. It's the same thing going into a marriage. Like, this is my friend before anything, right? So being that we have this friendship for so many years, I don't want to disappoint him. I don't want to do anything that's going to harm him. So that friendship, thank you, cuz. Thank you, George. That friendship is so important. Like, you should be able to, like I mentioned before as well, tell your friend anything. But you have to build a friendship. You can't just be screwing someone, dating someone. Like, you got to get to know what they like. Yeah. What's their views, whether it be religion, right? You don't want to go into a relationship if I know this individual is a Muslim and I practice Buddhism or whatever it may be, and we look at life differently, because further on, there's going to be some problems, right? And especially when we're talking about having a family, raising children, or when it comes to the holidays and things like that. You want to add to it?
Yeah, those are real serious conflicts of interest right there. Mm-hmm. And when you get into those conflicts, you cause big problems on what's going to be decided and what's going to be done. Tony mentioned holidays, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't. Forget holidays. What about just the food you're going to eat? So you guys can even get together on a dinner, right? Breakfast or lunch,
right?
You guys got nothing in common with that, right? What you want to do? Drink water all day? So yeah, go ahead.
And that's true, because that was really good about the food part, because you know the Black and brown community, we like to eat, right? We enjoy food. Food is something that nourishes us, our body, and we look forward to it. So I knew just from us growing up together and being friends for so many years that he doesn't eat pork, right? I come from a family that we do eat pork, but it's something I was very
That was back in the days. I didn't eat pork. Remember, my views changed.
Right.
On
I'm
pork.
making a point as we started our friendship, and we went into our relationship. So for many years together, I never ate pork, or I didn't cook pork because I wanted to be supportive, and especially with the seasonings. I'm half Puerto Rican, so I use a lot of heavy seasoning, and I didn't want temptation. So a lot of times it's making sacrifices in your relationship because of, I want this individual to be very comfortable around me. I want this individual to be themselves. I don't want them to be like, well, I can't do such and such because it's going to offend Tony. Now, if you had, like me, I do have several allergies. That's a little bit different. But I'm just saying, when it's time to make a meal, you have to be accommodating. And that's going back to the friendship, going back to shared values, how you look at your money, right? That's something that needs to be mentioned in the dating process before you even decide on how I'm going to get this husband. If this person and me have different views on how we look at money, do I really want this individual as a husband?
Right. That's true.
Anything?
I got a lot, but I'll just give a little bit on this, since this was a question from a lady on how to get a husband. You have to know how to deal with a man in order to get a husband. And it takes a little more than just jumping in the bed.
I know that's right.
Now, if you
Save your drawers.
if you just want to, if y'all just having that sort of physical relationship, then you're going to do what you want to do. But what I want you to understand is that's not going to get the man that you want, right? Very interesting. It goes back on also, I don't want you guys to challenge men when you do get them. And I don't think that's discussed enough. Now, there's nothing wrong with friendly banter, challenging each other, in a positive way that uplifts the family, right? So something like, let's say my wife has been cleaning all day long, right? I'm going to do something to help her out or help out with the household as well, right? So in competition like that, or trying to bring more finances or resources to the household, that sort of competition is fine. But you don't want to have unhealthy competition. Unhealthy competition is competition like, well, I really don't need you. I just have you here because I want you here. You shouldn't just want someone there. You shouldn't just, let me go back on that. You should want someone there, and you should need them there for you. The need is because they want to fulfill your needs. So it's a need there for both of you guys. Remember, when a relationship is balanced mentally, both people are getting something out of it. And you have to believe that and understand that. When relationships begin to be unbalanced, someone is thinking about leaving or going another way, it's because they may feel like they're contributing much more than the other person. And you don't want that. So don't be in a rush to challenge a man, okay? Work with a man. You understand what I'm saying? Go ahead.
I just want to add to that because that's so important, especially for our ladies who've been in supervision or just raised a certain way. We look at things as no one's going to disrespect us, or we have an opinion, and there's nothing wrong with being strong. There's nothing wrong with voicing your opinion. But at the end of the day, a man has to feel like a man, and I think that's what's going to separate you from everyone else. Like, a man needs to feel comfortable, just like we want to feel comfortable. We want to feel protected, right? We want this man to have our back. At the end of the day, like George just put in there, working together in challenges, but he has to make sure that I'm emotionally supporting him, right? That's why we're separate genders, right? Because he is more of the masculine, regardless if I'm working out, whatever it may be in the physical. But mentally, a man has to know that my woman is supporting what I'm saying without going back and forth. And we hear that, with different races, how a lot of times black women, they label us, black and brown, as being very challenging or being a bitch. But like Pretty just said, respect goes a long way. And when you disrespect and when you cross that line, and that's resentment, comes in a relationship, and then it's like, this is no longer my friend. It's like now we're in competition on who's running the household.
Right.
When at the end of the day, the man, that's going back to biblical principles, have to be the leader in your household. So going back to the original question, which was, how do I get a husband? Start off with first respecting the man, right? You have to have respect, and he shouldn't be disrespecting you, by no means necessary. But at the end of the day, that connection has to be there. Nobody wants a nag. Nobody wants to be back. There's nothing wrong with having a disagreement or even having an argument, right? Because Tobias broke down what arguments are. But at the end of the day, it needs to be a level of respect, a level of, well, you know what? I understand your viewpoint. Because if you going into all of that in a relationship, don't even set yourself up for an unhappy marriage, because that's what it's going to be. I think a lot of times we go into these marriages or these relationships with false pretenses, right? Yeah. And we know if we didn't get along and we're dating, why should we even go into a marriage? And I'm just being straight up. And I think a lot of times too, we talk a lot about self-care, but you have to take care of yourself in order to prepare yourself to be a wife. And I'm not just talking about in the physical. Yes, you need to look good. I would always recommend, and I go up and down for many years in the gym, over 20 years. You should take care of yourself, because your body is your temple, right? And that's what's going to help you live longer and then also be productive in your family. But my thing is, what I'm saying is, emotionally take care of yourself. Mentally take care of yourself. You have to do things. Remember, we are built to be a helpmate, right? So we're helping. This person is going out, even though we know these days, the way our lifestyles may be, we take two to run a household, but you want to give this person all the support that you can give them. When we first started in our 20s, we were still trying to figure out ourselves, much less us together, right? But one thing I knew, and that came from being raised by my mother, she knew how to be a wife. She knew sometimes it's okay to be quiet. You don't have to have the last word, right? A lot of times, and I'm not saying you have to be a sucker. I'm not saying that you let a man walk all over you. But at the end of the day, you have to sometimes sit back, evaluate, and mentally say, is this really worth us going back and forth for? Like, is it really? You know, a lot of times we don't have to say everything that comes to mind. Sometimes silence is really a virtue. Like, it's very important to practice that. And I think guys, these are not the same guys, no offense, that we had in the 90s and the 2000s. Like, these guys demand a lot more from what they demanded before, right? Like my father even said it with my husband and everyone else. It's different times. Back then, they just wanted somebody to have sex, cook, and clean. So these days, ladies, it's a lot of more competition out there. So it's not about your physical and your body and what you're bringing to the table or how you look. It's about mentally. What kind of conversations are you having? Is it productive conversations? The conversations that's going to build your household, right? If he's ambitious, I can't tear this man down, and vice versa. But men, they look for that, and that's what's going to. And if I can just leave and I'll let Tobias talk, leave you with this, Jewel.
Oh, like, you want to let me talk now?
I will.
Okay.
You know, I'm going to be respectful because I'm very boisterous, but I know who's the head of my household. At the end of the day, what separates you from everyone else is taking this. Mental, right? That's what you have. Anybody can open their legs, do oral sex, and everything else in the book. But at the end of the day, you need to get that man's mind. And in order to get that man's mind, it has to be some type of connection there. And you build that connection. That connection is not overnight.
I want to hit on something that you said. You actually said two things that was very important, and I want to make sure. Yeah, just the two I want to hit on. The two I want to hit on. The one is being respectful to your husband, being a helpmate to your husband. What I want you guys to understand is that doesn't mean your husband gets to disrespect you. Period. That doesn't mean your husband comes home and kick you in the neck when they got an attitude.
Not having that.
Or kick you in the behind.
Or touch you, period.
Just like when you're respecting your husband as the man of your household, your husband is supposed to do everything he can to satisfy you as the woman of the household. So remember, disrespect thing goes both ways, okay? It's not you bowing down to your man when he come home every day and kissing his feet. It's you just showing him proper respect as a human being. That's it. And vice versa. But you want to show a little more respect than just being a human being because this is your spouse. Or it's not your spouse yet, but this is your man you're trying to climb up a ladder with and reach marriage. Okay? Another thing is that Tony pointed on a little earlier than that point was it's okay to go to work and be a boss. If you guys manage a lot of people, you have to know how to turn it off, okay, when you come home, all right? So the thing is that what I see a lot that happens with women in the workplace and a few other places is they'll respect a man and authority over them at their job much more than they respect their husbands. You understand? So what'll happen is you'll do anything your superior tells you to do. You don't even question it, okay? But when you come home, you're questioning your man, you're talking back to him, you're demanding stuff from him, but you don't do that when you go to work because you know better. You know the consequences are dire if you do that to your boss. So why can't you treat your man with the same respect or more than you treat your boss? You're not coming home to your boss. You're coming home to your husband. You understand? And that's the difference. But we have it twisted. A woman may have their cycle, right? They go to work. You won't even know they had their cycle. You won't know nothing about PMS, anything.
Some people.
When they come home, oh boy, you know they're on their cycle. And they're in a rage when they get in the house. Don't do that. Keep that same energy you had at work when you get in your house. If you're going to be pleasant at work, do the same thing at home and vice versa. So that's something that I want you guys to understand. There's nothing wrong with bossing up when you're in the workplace. You understand? But turn it off when you get home. Turn it off. Just for a few minutes, okay? Relax, calm down. If you got a job that constantly calls you or you're on call during the day or what have you, then you may have to put that poker face back on and handle business over the phone. But when you get off, you have to revert back to being the wife of the household, okay? You're not the man, all right? You can have some masculine energy when you're out in the world. But with your husband, you need to be in your feminine energy. You need to come home feminine for your man.
And if I can just add, before we get into our marriage mailbox, also have those conversations with the person that you're dating. I think a lot of times we front as women and we're not, very straightforward. Sometimes we're too straightforward. But when it comes to being in a relationship, and don't waste time. Like time, it's really like, one is limited, but also two, you have to respect it, right? Because time goes and you can spend 2, 3, 4, 5 years with an individual and that's not your guy. That's not the person that's meant to be your husband. So in the beginning stage, my recommendation would be, I'm not saying scare the person on the first date, right? But I would have those conversations to say, I'm really looking for a husband. Like, it's okay. You want to get to know each other, of course, and be friends and the things that we just mentioned, but you want to be clear on your expectations because the person that you could be dealing with has no interest or they don't want to be a husband. They're not looking. They're looking for a good time, maybe to spend a couple dollars on you, maybe to wine and dine you. I heard things have changed. They're not doing much of that even now. But whatever it may be, but have those conversations. And then that way, if an individual, they may just be coming out of another relationship or a marriage, or they parents have never been married. They're not looking at that. Like, don't waste your time. I see so many people that I've known for years waste so many years on individuals. And then what happens, and it has happened constantly. Then that guy they've been with 10, 15, whatever years it may be, they move on, and guess what? They marry somebody else in less than 6 months.
The next person
in less than 6 months. And then you look at it, and I've asked questions. What did you ask him why he married that person or what happened? Oh, she wanted to get married. Like, be clear.
Now,
for real.
Let me interrupt you really quickly with that. I know it's almost time for the marriage mailbox, but let me interrupt you with that. The woman saying that, or the guy saying she wanted to get married, she said it, right? understand it's not just what she said, it's her actions. You understand? So she acted like she wanted to be married. It didn't just come out of her mouth. A lot of people, or a lot of women, they want the ceremony, they want the wedding day, but they don't want the responsibility of being married. Okay, being married is a responsibility. You're not showing that you're ready for that responsibility when you're just saying you want to be married. The actions show you want to be married. Okay, so those actions can be anything. It could be not being combative, right? Being respectful. And this goes both ways. I'm not saying, again, you have to bow down to a man every time you see him, but you have to act like you want to further the relationship. You have to act like you want to be married. So again, the guy saying she said she wanted to be married was just a verbal commitment on what she was acting like. So not that she just say it, but she also acted like she wanted to be married. Maybe she's making meals for him when he gets home. Maybe she's helping him out with small tasks. Maybe that's like picking up dry cleaning for him. You know, just little things. You understand?
But not too much.
Little things. Again, you're not a slave.
Right. You don't want to milk the cow for free. We ain't doing all that.
But what I'm saying is she had qualities that showed she was ready to be a wife.
Okay. Well, thank you for that, Tobias.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that.
Antonia.
All right. See, he's doing too much. We're going to go into the marriage mailbox. And these questions, I love these questions today.
Yeah, you guys be sending some good questions.
Y'all do send some good questions.
Some good ones.
And y'all be getting me started. All right, so the first question in our marriage mailbox, and I appreciate you all so much. Question number 1. Is it okay to text someone's husband if you are friends with that individual? Meaning that one of Tobias' friends texting me or vice versa. And if so, what is deemed appropriate? You want me to go first? Because you know I
Go ahead.
Okay. So don't text my husband. Let me be very, very clear. Unless you already had a friendship, if you text like my best friend, I have maybe 2 or 3 friends that actually text my husband Happy Father's Day or Happy Birthday or our anniversary because they know we big into our anniversary. Don't text my husband no summary. Don't text him how good of a man he is, and I don't play it. And I feel that opens up the door for people being a little bit inappropriate. So that's my viewpoint on it, and Tobias may think a little differently coming from a man's perspective. My husband friends, they don't text me unless they're already my friends because we have mutual friends. We've been friends since, again, I've been 11, he's been 13, so we have the same circle. But at the end of the day, they're not sitting here having no full conversation. If they're texting me, they're going to say what wine or cigar he's into now for this year if we're having an event. But you're not going to sit there and have a dialogue. Like, we're not doing that. We're not. I don't approve of that. I think that's when people get a little bit too familiar and they try to test to see the strength of your relationship. And let me be very clear. A man, no one can take anyone from you. So I don't want you to think it's an insecurity. But at the end of the day, don't open up the door for things to get messy and disrespectful. So ain't no conversations with mine. Go ahead.
Yeah, I touched on this the first episode that we did. And if the episode was talking about, being friends with the opposite sex. You have to evaluate why you're friends with the opposite sex or this person that you're friends with. The same thing with texting. It all goes on what's the reason for this? Why is this happening? So if someone is texting my wife, first of all, the question is, why are they texting her? That's the first question. The second question is, how frequent is this texting? Okay. Then the third question is, what is her attitude towards these texts? That's my final question right there. Once I get all that packaged and bundled and I find out the answers I need to find out, I can make an educated decision on what's really going on and what's happening. Because check this out. people going to try to deal with your spouse. Okay, let me put y'all on to something y'all may not know. Okay, people going to try to deal with your spouse. All right, they could be out in the street. They could see your spouse in the supermarket. They could see him shopping. People going to try to holler. People always trying to holler at my woman. Okay, when she's by herself. It don't happen when I'm around. But I know what's going to happen. But check this out. I'm not worried about that.
I know that's right.
Because I need to know where she's at. See, she made a commitment to me. Those other dudes didn't. So they're going to go for theirs. You understand what I'm saying? And if she's having it, then they're going to get what they're going for. But the thing is that this is the gatekeeper, okay? So she has to make the correct decision and determination. Check this out. I married her. You ready for this? So I trust her to make the right decision.
I know that's right.
You understand what I'm saying? Until that changes, until something changes where I can't trust her, we're good. Same thing with the texting or anything else. Where is she coming from? That's more important to me than someone trying to holler at her or someone trying to text her. That's what's really important to me. But I may have to check the person that's texting her after I find out everything going on. But that's a different story.
Right. Don't even try me. Y'all already know. All right. Don't text him if y'all want to live long. All right. That being said, I want to hear from the audience. What is your perspective or your viewpoint regarding someone from the opposite gender texting your spouse? Put a 1 if you think it's okay. Put a 2 if you think it's not. And I'll wait for it. I love that you all are thank you. I appreciate it. And it's the same thing too regarding Tobias. I know I have a very attractive, nice looking, well-built husband. And I know women from all, some people say it's okay. Some people say it's not. Different walks of life that may be attracted or may see him in a gym or when he goes into an office, whatever it may be. But at the end of the day, we're not going to be playing in nobody's face. Let me go into, okay, a lot of people are saying 2. All right, marriage mailbox question number 2. I forgot because I was so into question number 1, which this one I'll let you answer first. How can you navigate and resolve conflict without damaging your marriage? Good question.
Conflict is just a difference of opinion. That's what conflict comes in at. You want to make this really simple? A conflict is just a difference of opinion. Conflicts are because you look at things differently. I like to call life lenses. Life is all about how you see things. So if there's a conflict, you're seeing things differently. That's all it is. Someone just put communication.
Yes. Hey.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's it.
You are an adult. I said this, I believe, the second episode or the first. I think it was the second. Talk. It's your job to say something if your spouse is doing something you don't like. It is not your job to attack because your spouse may think he isn't doing anything wrong. Again, it's about lenses. Conflict only happens when you're not in agreement with what you're seeing or what you're saying. Okay? You are individuals. Right. This happens. So, to resolve this without ruining relationships, just speak about it. Don't attack on it. Don't say, I don't like what you said. You. There's no need for that. Just talk about what you don't like. Go ahead. We don't have much. I could go on for days with that.
But it's okay. Ahead. And I like you already mentioned, communication, I would just add to that, is key. Like Shonda said, reading a person, they can't read your mind. And it is okay to say, no, I don't like the way you responded, because you got to get it out because they're going to repeat that behavior, right?
Correct.
Also, don't hit below the belt. I think that's an issue, and I think that's what damages relationships. If you can have a disagreement, things happen, and then, like, regardless of how mad you are, that's why I said it really goes back to the friendship and that bond that you have, because I'm not going to hit below the belt because you don't want to hurt that individual. And I think a lot of times we're not mature as adults, and we look at things a little bit differently, you know what I mean? Then we say anything that comes out our mouth, anything that comes to mind, and you can't do that when you really trying to build your relationship or just that foundation period in life. Like, you don't want to hurt the closest person to you. So watch what you say. A lot of times if you're having a disagreement, you're not coming to grips on things, or somebody may be even giving you the silent treatment, whatever it may be. It's not for you to use abusive language, curse that person out, or jump in someone's face. And that's another thing too. You're not a man, females. And I think a lot of times, because we raised a certain way, and we just, like, don't even ever do anything to put yourself in a situation where it can just get worse or lead to a physical. And I think that's also things that we need to look at. It's already 6:30. I see why people saying that they want us to really extend this. I want to just thank you all again, just week after week, just joining us and just listening to our viewpoint. I appreciate you all. Yes, Keisha, not attacking people. Thank you, Vanessa. So many people. Thank you, Tima, Shonda. So many of you, Aunt Liz, George. We appreciate you, Cousin Tamara.
Yeah, definitely family.
We really appreciate you. We're looking forward to this next week.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to thank everyone for their support. But, most of all, I just want this to be a blessing to people. I wanted to help people out, okay, from a married couple that's been married for 18 and a half years perspective. Okay, we didn't just get married 36 months ago and trying to give you guys a rundown on what's really good. Okay, we've done this. We do this currently. But with that being said, we're out of time. I do thank you guys for coming out. You could be anywhere in the world, but you're here dealing with us and listening to us, and participating with us. So we appreciate that.
All right. This weekend was scorching. I was in New York for my nephew's graduation. It was burning up. So I hope you all are staying hydrated. Take care of yourself. Make sure that AC is blasting. Going back to self-care. If you got to be outdoors working out, whatever you're doing, just make sure you stay hydrated. We appreciate you. Make sure you share this episode. Make sure you tell your friends, your family. We're looking to upload these episodes.
If it can help
if it can help them, right?
Yeah, send it out there. Yeah, so, send it out. Definitely.
Right. So we thank you all. Have a blessed day. All right, episode. All right, episode 4. Here we go.
Hey, hello everybody. Body.
All right, Sunday. Here we go. Here we go. Good evening, cuz.
Hello, people.